Good morning, Jan. Good afternoon.
Good morning, Michael. I already have an error for you.
Oh, excellent. Perfect way to start a week.
Yeah, yeah, that's always good to start a week.
Yes,
What
indeed.
was what what was that song a long time ago? I don't like Mondays.
Um, yeah, I'm sure that there were a lot of songs with that theme. I
Yeah,
don't remember a
yeah,
specific one.
it's, it's a very old song, but I do like them because we start with Janaga on Monday, so
Yeah.
I do like Mondays.
There we go. That's the
Yeah,
plan all along.
that's a good thing to start the week with.
Mm-hmm.
I've sent you an invitation for the live share.
All right.
Or direct in your terminal, so not in
Okay.
Discord. So it should pop up in VS Code, I think.
I see it. And let's see, trying to find the right window.
Yeah, I see you're coming live now.
Okay. There it is. There's the accept.
Joining.
Okay.
Do you see
And
anything?
I hit accept, but I'm not
It's
seeing it.
not. It's not asking me for permission or something. No. It tells me joining, but then there is an icon turning all the time.
Okay, I'm going to just restart all of my VS Code windows because I had a lot of them open.
Otherwise, I resend the invitation. That's perhaps if I just cancel this one and I make a new one. What do you think?
I think I can still use the same one. So let me click on that
I
again.
don't cancel it.
Okay, and now I'm just going to copy, hit join. Oh, I have to copy the whole URL. Okay. Well, I pasted it in, but it doesn't look like it's joining quite yet.
Right. Let me
Yeah, okay.
cancel
Let's go
this
ahead and do that again.
joining, and then I send a new invitation. So now you have, again, the status invited. Not sure whether the link is the same.
Okay. Join. Oh, there's the accept button. Okay, looks like I am in this time.
My side is still saying joining. Oh, yeah. Now it should.
Yeah, there we are.
Yeah,
Excellent.
everything works, but it takes some time.
Yes.
Last time we ended with this query, which I finished it the way I thought it should be. So yeah, perhaps I can see the diagram here. Right, let me get this out of the way. I'm not, yeah, I will share my screen perhaps, then
Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and do it that way.
this one go live. Yeah. Okay. So if we take the diagram here,
Mm-hmm.
why don't I have a scroll bar? Okay. I cannot scroll it. I don't have a scroll
Yeah,
bar.
I
Why
see a
not?
scroll bar there, right there at the bottom.
Ah, yeah,
Yeah,
indeed. They hide it
Mm-hmm.
these times. So we had a supplier, we had a user. The supplier had a worker and a dispatcher. So the worker here, the dispatcher here,
Mm-hmm.
you were the dispatcher, I was the worker. And then you assigned a task to me, a task assigned
Mm-hmm.
through the period pattern to me. And I assigned a second task myself to me also. That was what
Mm-hmm.
we did. So now, let's see if is the code readable in this size?
No, but I'm going to go ahead and switch back to the live share, and then it's readable. Okay, so I can see it in live share.
Mm-hmm. So we had a supplier, we had two users. Jan was the worker, Michael was the dispatcher.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had two periods, but for the moment we don't really use them. We had a task assigned, created by dispatcher, and one by the worker.
Mm-hmm.
And the task created by the dispatcher was assigned by the dispatcher, and the task created by the worker was assigned by the worker. And then the question was to create a query which shows all the tasks assigned to Jan. So, and there I was stuck last time. So I worked out for this specification. So given a worker, match worker, and then our fact repository. Then what I need is a task. So I start from tasks in facts of task of type task. And there I have a where clause because I want to go and look for a successor, the assignment. So where from successor of type task assignments. And then I go back up the tree, successor.assign to .worker, worker Jan. So I'm not I'm not passing through this pattern. Is that correct?
Yeah, I see what the issue is, and so I'm trying to think
Because
how to talk us through. So the issue right on the face of it is you've got a from, and the where clause that follows the from is an existential where clause. It doesn't join that task back to the worker. So the fix is to find the thing closest to your starting point and start there. But yeah, I can see why you ended up here, because what you're trying to find is the task. So let's go ahead and state that first.
Yeah, Michael, because now I start doubting here. So the successor is a task as an assigned to, but I renamed that. Wait, let me see. A task. No, that was task assignment. And assign to was a worker month.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
that part is good.
Yeah, because I was wondering, it didn't complain. So that's the task. This is the worker month, and this is the worker.
Right.
So that should
Yeah.
be okay. And then on the other hand, the task has another successor, which is the assignment has another successor, which is the task.
Right. The crux of the issue is that's inside of an existential work clause, a .any. So it needs that that shape right at the top. So if we start with the from successor in facts of type task assignment, put that on the outside, then what we can see is
okay.
Okay. I see another issue as well. Right here, worker Jan is coming from the outside. That's captured into this Lambda expression. There's nothing that relates to this worker right here. So those two things are happening here.
Yeah, that should be worker. Eh?
Yep.
Match worker, yeah. Not be worker, yeah. Like this.
Yep.
And if I run it now.
Yeah, it still isn't going to work because that's only one of the two things.
Okay. So, if I understand well, we have to turn it around. Let's see. Let's. So, given we start with that successor. So we say given an assignment. Was it?
No, you're still starting with the worker, so the given part is correct, because that's the thing that you know, and now what you're trying to find out are the tasks. The problem is that that very first line you jump straight to task, and I can see why that's going to be a general problem. You know, people are going to want to do that. What you want to do instead is take the line that talks about the facts of type task assignment and make that the first thing.
From task assignment in. Yeah, and then there we do select task assignment dot task, and then we are gonna have here task assignment. Here we go back. Wait, if I would just take this one out. Why is he still complaining for that one?
So you've got a capital T on the variable task assignment. I think it auto-corrected because that's the name of a type. So it says, oh, you must mean this type.
Yeah, okay. So that's okay. And then this task assignment. So I don't need such a complex where clause anymore.
That's right, you don't.
Yeah. So where task assignment dot I have my task assignment go to task equal
You're not going up the task routes.
No, I don't need that one. I need the assign to one. assign to dot worker equal to worker. That's that worker. And should that like this? It should work. Doesn't give problems anymore. So let's see if we do this. Yeah. One, two, yeah. We run it 25 times. Clear output of all cells. 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
And there
Now
we
have
go.
the supplier. Here we have dispatcher, the user. No, that's correct.
Yep, that looks correct.
One of the things I realized, if it's important to mention the role. Where was it? Here on the task assignment. Last time I just put workermount, type workermount, and user. And that means, of course, that here, instead of created by, it will just tell you user.
Right, yeah.
Well, now it's clear that it's the dispatcher.
Yeah, that is helpful. It definitely helps with the diagram. I suspect it'll help with the with reading the code, for the specifications as well as for for any kind of mappings to user interface and that sort of thing.
Yeah, the only thing which is but last time we solved that by adding the dispatcher, because here we have two users, but we don't see who is worker and who is dispatcher.
Right, yeah.
Because it doesn't make.
Yeah.
So if I just.
We fixed that before by making sure that they were part of the array. Yeah, here, since we are using the results of our query, then that is the array. We have to do something even more clever in order to bring new facts in.
Yeah. Okay. So in fact, this is much easier and much shorter than that than what I came up with and didn't work.
Yeah, and so I would like to kind of think through the flipping things around so we can read. Okay, yeah, I would like to think through the query that you wrote in the first place so that we can guide people into writing correct specifications. So yeah, the very first thing, and I'm thankful that you just commented it out so we can still see it. The very first thing was that this from task doesn't have an immediate where clause that joins task up to its predecessors. So something like this would would be, well, I don't want to change that. I'm going to
Great.
Yeah, go ahead and do another one. Okay, so so just looking at the form, you would say, well, let's start by moving that up there, and so that joins the task to something else in the graph. Now the thing that it joins it to, because I moved that line up, isn't defined anymore. So that means, okay, I need to move this thing up so that there's something to join it to. Okay, so I've got my successor up there. But now here I've got a from that doesn't immediately have a join where, so that means I really needed this as well. So now I've got this new successor, which is joined back to the worker. So we brought our variable in. And then I can continue on and join other things. And now this where clause isn't doing me any good because I'm already using those facts. So this is another correct rewriting of it. And I did that one just completely by working through the algebra of it. And as it turns out, these two are the same except for the name of task assignment. If that name were task assignment, then they would be the same because this is actually shorthand for this. It turns into exactly the same kind of pipeline.
Which one is...
Yeah, if we take a look at those two pipelines, so I'll comment those out, and let's just look at tasks for
descriptive
worker.
string.
Yes.
Descriptive pipeline.descriptive string.
Oh, I probably have to. I needed to access request access to run the notebooks.
Yeah.
There we go.
Should be okay now.
Okay, so so now we've got starting at the worker. We go through the task assignment, and that joins it back to the worker, and then it does another join for task. So it gets this name task from that role right there. But it has to come up with a new path in order to do this dot. So it does the predecessor task. If we take a look at the other one, we will see.
It's task for worker too.
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go. So this one, it did the same thing. It created that task pipeline. It's just I did that explicitly here versus implicitly there. So the only difference between these two is the name of that label right there. So these these are equivalent, and so I'm trying to think through what is it going to what is somebody going to need in order to guide them from what they're trying to do, which is get the tasks, into what they actually have to do is start with the task assignment.
I think actually start from the lowest, the latest fact in the diagram. Because I think this form is easier to understand. Mm-hmm. The only thing you have to do is to start from the bottom of the diagram and work up to the predecessors.
Okay, yeah. So if we come up with a good way to have that verbiage in in the error message. So like I didn't see exactly what error message you got, but it's probably just a not implemented exception, right? Because right now that's what all the error messages are. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is go back through those not implemented exceptions. Basically, take the type of syntax that somebody might write naturally. So I'll take this and I'll turn it into a unit test. And then I'm going to assert that it throws a meaningful exception. And so that'll guide me to the not implemented exception that is currently being thrown in that situation. And then I'll try to infer what the intent of the query is from the information that's available at that point. But yeah, then so if we put some sort of verbiage in there to remind them to go down to the lowest fact first, then that might help. And I'm wondering,
Michael, if you would have a diagram.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so in fact, if we, and well, if we did a diagram of the types, so let me just go ahead and put another code line in here, so I should be able to say so down here we talked about, okay, yeah, Genograph is renderer. So if up here we do Genograph is renderer dot, then render types rather than render facts, we should be able to say type of task assignment, for example. And so now we've got the transitive closure of all of the facts that task assignment is related to. And basically just kind of work our way up through this. What are we missing? And actually it looks like we happen to get everything. Everything leads down to a task assignment, which kind of makes sense for the domain. Yeah, so yeah, I think another thing that would help is to really advertise this to make sure that people understand that they can generate a graph of their model. And then when we say the lowest fact, you can look at this graph and say, okay, let's go all the way down to task assignment and start there. And that's precisely what we needed to do in this case.
Now, imagine that we have a query like going up, going down, going up, going down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure whether it makes a lot of sense in this case, but the table seeded from some time ago. Or was it you had some waiter, and you had some seated parties,
Mm-hmm.
and then we went up, down, up, down.
Right, yes. Yeah, and so in that case, the rule is the lowest fact that is also the directly below your starting point. So if you're starting from the waiter, then you go down to the waiter's table assignments, and then go back up to zigzag back up, and then down to the seated parties. But if you're starting at the party and you want to know who your waiter is, then you get your seated parties first, zigzag over to the table assignments, and then you get your waiter.
Because I don't remember how the query looked at the time. But how do you get to a successor in that case?
Yeah, so we can actually write that down. So let's do fact type, and so we're going to have a restaurant server, and we'll just do identifier for now.
Mm-hmm.
And then a seed assignment. We'll just do that one at the top level, or not a seed assignment. This is a table assignment. And so that's a assignment of a server to a table. And already I'm violating the rule that you started with about mentioning the role names. Which means I need a table. And we'll call that table number. So far, we're going to do Jnaga GraphViz renderer render types, and we'll do type of
assignment.
table assignment. And now we get.
Yep.
It's taking a little while for the graph to render on my side, but you probably already see it.
No, it
No?
tells me identify expected.
Ah.
Here is something, yeah, here.
Okay.
Go like that. And so I'll enter. Ah, and here is another one. Now I got graphics. Yeah, here we are.
Excellent. Thank you.
And then we still miss the party and the party seated, huh?
Yes. So let's get into the party. So we'll just do a date time. So this is the date time that they arrived. So there's their arrival. And then we've got our party
seated fact, party seated.
So that's the party seated at the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm making all sorts of typos. The live share
here
is
the record.
Yeah, live share is not keeping up. So actually, my screen looks completely messed up. So I'm going to hit
because
save.
here it's missing the record. Party seated, and there we have the table.
Yeah, I'm going to close mine and open it back up again. I hope that doesn't also close it for you.
No.
Okay. It's not closing.
Ah, now I'm getting in the whole thing from you.
Oh, wow.
Wait, and then but like this. Okay. Records. All right. So now it's still what is it missing? It's still missing some facts. Table assignment. Yeah, of course. Render types and then type of party seated.
Yes.
Seated. Control enter. Yeah.
So
here we have the whole story.
So yeah, it looks like LiveShare could use some CRDT help. It's not eventually consistent.
Perhaps with Jnaga we might make a good live share.
Yeah, that's the goal, right? Everything evolves to live share.
Okay, so now if we would ask what are the parties which parties are being served by a certain server.
Mm-hmm.
Then there we need a query which is, by the way, Mike, oh, why is it jumping away here?
I don't know.
What happened? Control Z perhaps? It messed up on my side this time. I know it's the old code where it did ask by dispatcher, yeah. I think it mixed up some
Oh, interesting.
this never mind. We will just the old stuff we will comment it out for Control C for the moment. Then it doesn't give errors.
Mm-hmm.
Later we can Control C. We can come to that back and save it. So if we would make here, so then we split up this, how do we do that? Start another one here. It's always a good idea from you to start another.
Yeah, so if you go down below the diagram, you should have a plus code. Yeah.
Yeah. And here is the splitting.
Oh,
yeah.
right. Okay.
I see. Yeah. That was the one I was looking for. So if we say var parties served by that's one I would like to have.
Mm-hmm.
Given, but now I have two. In fact, I have two lowest types: the table assignment and the party seated. So, given table, no. Given a server.
Yes. Yes, and that is you can already tell that just by the phrase that you started with. So party served by whom?
Yeah.
By the server. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking for a server. Dot match, and then like this. Why is that window so? Yeah. Here I need two things. I need my server and I need my facts. And from and then we start from table assign. No, that's a small one. Huh? Table assignment.
Yep, and that's because that's the lowest one on the side of your starting point in the server.
Yeah. Right. Table assignment. Why is it jumping? Was that? No, I'm messing things up here. It keeps jumping away.
Yeah, I must be thinking that.
Facts of type, table assignment. Why is it still the previous one? Is still giving that red squirrel.
Yeah, you might just need to keep going, and and let it catch up when you try to run the code block.
And in the end, we end with select table assignment dot server. No, because what I need is the parties.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to involve somewhere party seated.
Yes.
Does that mean that I can just add a second from clause here?
Yes, it does.
So here, from party seated in facts dot of type party seated. So, and then from and here select seated dot party. So that's the end. And now I have to make the link between the two.
Yes.
So where party seated dot table equal to table assignment dot table.
Yeah, I heard you say the word from,
Parties.
or from. I heard you say the word where, but I don't see where.
Oh,
Did you? Yeah, I couldn't tell if you had typed it
no.
and it just wasn't keeping up.
This must be just.
Mm-hmm.
It's just giving this red squirrel. Why could not be found? Are you missing the namespace table assignment?
I might have just called it assignment. No, it is called table assignment.
Did I? It was. Yeah, I did wrong spelling.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice.
It was my fault. Like this, and so then oh no, we didn't define any records yet.
Mm-hmm.
So we can just print this one out. What was that syntax for?
That would be
the facts.
yeah, Janaga.graph,
Yeah,
or I'm sorry, yeah, party served by dot pipeline dot to descriptive string.
Yeah, so parties served by dot pipeline dot to descriptive string.
Yeah, and no semicolon because you want to just print the result.
But I need this one. No? A delegate object, did you intend? Invoke a method? No. Just property. Why is it still giving me this? Cannot convert method to.
Yeah, that should have the parentheses at the end, but just not the semicolon.
Yeah, but even with parentheses, then he's telling me the opposite thing.
Yeah, let me hit Control Enter. There we go. So the method is not implemented. Okay, so yeah, this is my non-implemented exception, and so this is another place where better error messaging could help you out. So you've got a from here that does not immediately have a where clause that joins it back to the server.
Wait a
So in fact, it auto-corrected that to capital S. That should be lowercase s. But yeah, right here, we need a where clause.
I should have somewhere, where table assignment dot server equal to server.
Yep.
Wrong place. Where table assignment dot server equal to server. Did I get it wrong again here? Okay.
And there we go.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. So that
in
was
fact in this.
Yeah, working from that diagram made that that easier. Yeah, you still need a little bit of a reminder to put the where clauses in. So yeah, I think we can improve the messaging around that.
So it's important always to start from the successors.
Yes.
And to work your way up.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Once you know it, then if you don't forget it,
yeah,
it's gonna be my problem.
Yeah, one thing that I'm thinking about is of type has two overloads. So I'm trying to get the IntelliSense to show me the two overloads, but it's not helping me out. Let's put the other parentheses in there again, and it's still not helping me out. Anyway, there's an overload where you can say table assignment arrow, and then have this part of the where clause.
Or you can leave that part of the where clause.
Yeah. Yeah, and in fact, you could write it like that, and it looks kind of nice. So that overload is available to you, but also the overload that takes no parameters is also available. If I took away this overload, then you couldn't write the query without having this where clause. So it's kind of making the compiler or making the syntax do the heavy lifting for you, and remind you what needs to happen. So in a way I like that, but in a way I don't.
Not sure. I think the way it was, you just have to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you just put in the documentation a small diagram like this, I think this is an excellent example, because you have the worm going through.
Yeah.
And we just color this in red, and this in red here, and this in red, and people will remember, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, that's
just give them.
Yeah, it's the difference between education and guidance, I guess. So yeah, do you take this opportunity to teach people what's necessary, or do you constrain the language so that they could only do the right things? Some people call that falling into the pit of success. So the easiest thing to do is the right thing. Right now the easiest thing to do is the wrong thing, to leave off the where clause. But if that overload wasn't available to you, then that wouldn't be possible. The easiest thing to do would be to have the where clause, because it has to be there in order to get it to compile. But then again, that seems a bit chatty to me, and I added that overload just because if you wanted to go down the path of just using extension methods and lambdas, then that's a lot more terse. In fact, you could get away with a lot of your simpler queries with just the facts of type and a lambda, and you don't have to have any where or any select or any from or anything. So yeah, I like giving people the choice, but I also like making sure that they don't have so much freedom that they can make an incorrect choice. So yeah, I think the first thing to do would be to work on the error messaging and make sure that that at least tells people what the problem is and how to correct it. That's the most important part of an error message, the thing that most people get wrong. And so if I can get the error messages to give you the guidance rather than the syntax, then we can allow them the choice of which syntax they prefer. And then, yeah, like you're saying here, also give them some examples that that illustrate with the graph what is important and how to get to the right thing.
Yeah, because I'm sure somewhere in the old video we already had this problem. But it's hidden somewhere in the video. So if people have to go through all that, well, if you just have a page with a few sample queries and possible hiccups, if you have a problem, you go to that page and you find a solution.
Yes, and I would love for that page to be an interactive notebook. So if you've already got your development environment set up, you could just open it and run it and see the diagram. But what I am looking for, that would be kind of awesome, is a way to run interactive notebooks on the web. So you could just go to the web page, the button, see the thing, and start to tweak it. So yeah, I think that would be a fantastic form of documentation.
So in fact, you have a Visual Studio Code session in your web page.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I know that I can get there with is it Live Spaces? Code Spaces. So I've tried out Code Spaces, and I can install extensions into Code Spaces and get interactive notebooks and get GraphViz and all the extensions that I love for people to have. Get that set up, but that's not a free option. I know it'd be really nice to just rely upon the user's CPU rather than rely upon a machine running in the cloud to do that. That way it's free to me, and they're just going to a website.
Another thing we can do is just have the IPYNB files available for download on the website.
Yeah. Yep. And then just a few instructions: install VS Code, install the extension, and then.
And why not just make somewhere the text, even a PNG, just a picture on the website that they see what is inside, a download link, they can download it, and I guess it's not dangerous because you have to execute them to. Can it cause any harm of a IPYNB file that you download before? If you don't check, of course you have to check the code before you run it. But before you run the code,
and it does now ask you if you trust the author. So
but if they don't trust the author, you cannot do anything with it. But you can scan the file and trust it afterwards. So.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Yeah, and that's one of the cool things about CodeSpaces is that it's not your machine that's getting hacked. It's a virtual machine out there, and so you can pre-trust your files in code spaces, and then now when somebody launches into it, it's already trusted, and I can start running things. So yeah, that's probably the best experience overall. But yeah, I think we've got lots of different paths.
Because if we share the files, people will still have to install VS Code, will have to install the necessary extensions, like the diagramming, the graphics extension. So it's not that easy for them.
Yes.
Anyway, if they want to work with Jinaga, they will have to spend some time anyway.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I like building that ladder. So so you come to Jinaga.com, and here's some code just on the screen. You can just see it. You can see what it's going to do, and then dig a little bit deeper. Now you see some diagrams, and you see here's a diagram. Here's some code, or here's some code that describes a model. Here's a diagram of that model. Here's some code that that queries that model, and here's the output. And now here's the diagram that shows the output. And so you can just kind of read that and say, okay, that makes sense. And then I want to go a little bit deeper. So the next rung of the ladder is, let's dive into this this online Visual Studio Code experience where I can actually run things, and I can make changes, and I can see the results. Then the next ladder up is download, run it locally, so we give them enough rungs of the ladder, and then before too long they're actually creating their own model and compiling it to an assembly, and then bringing in Xamarin Forms or Maui or whatever, Razor Pages in order to put a user interface on it. And then they're having success, and they're like, hey, this was easy. I just walked up the ladder.
So in fact, for my application, what I should do now is start asking what is the information I want to get out of all the facts, create all the additional facts, and create the queries. And then bind the queries to user screens, to user forms, and build up that way.
Yep, and the binding is coming along. So I am now able to have a nested on added. So you've got a specification. You watch that specification. You say on added at the top level, and then have the nested on added within there to say, okay, now when a child property is set, now I can set that property on the view model, that kind of thing. And so those nest now to any arbitrary depth. So that's that was a good bit of work to make that happen. And so I think a good interim step before getting to binding to a user interface is to create unit tests. So exactly the same kind of code that you've been writing here in the notebook, you write that inside of
in Visual Studio.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then that verifies in a repeatable way that the model is correct. And then you can turn those unit tests into authorization rules. So you're starting to build security into your model. And all that can be done before even getting to the user interface. But I know the user interface is the exciting part, so we want to get there soon.
Yeah. Okay, it's something I can try. And back to Visual Studio Code, back to. It's a little bit of a pity that we don't have the notebook extension in Visual Studio.
Yeah, I know. But VS Code is just kind of a playground. It seems that all of the experimental stuff is going there first. The yeah, little smart Copilot. Copilot is just in VS Code, not in Visual Studio. And yeah, I think eventually they'll port Copilot to Visual Studio, but they might actually do that in a really interesting way. What if they made an adapter between VS Code extensions and Visual Studio? And then just like, okay, now we've opened up this entire marketplace. Anything that can run in VS Code extensions can run in Visual Studio. That might be a way to do it.
Or just continue developing VS Code until it is as powerful as Visual Studio.
Yeah.
Then it runs everywhere. You have the flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
Make an extension Visual Studio for Visual Studio Code.
Hey, there you go. Yep. And then you don't need anything else.
Would you like to have this YPNB file?
Yes, because I
will
intend to turn that into some tests.
Okay, I will just clean it up again, and then I will mail it to you.
Excellent. Appreciate that.
Or if you want to have it like this, you can immediately copy it, but it's still a bit messy. I will clean it up and mail it to you.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah, appreciate that. And I have the video now. I can go back and actually walk through those steps with the error message in place and say, okay, now that we got to this point, what's it saying? And I say, oh, that's still not leading us in the right direction.
Videos are useful if there is sound.
Yeah. Yes.
I saw the two latest you deleted.
Yes. Yeah, nobody wants that.
It's not really useful without. Yeah. Okay, then I will clean it up, send you a copy. We are earlier today. Unless you still have something.
Nope. That is all. Yeah, we are ending right on time, actually. Yeah, we usually go just a little bit long, but excellent. Yeah, I think that was great progress, and we learned a lot about the learning process for Janaga. Definitely want to make that better.
It's really a matter of doing it yourself. The moment that you try it yourself, you find the problems.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you see somebody do it, it's okay. It's easy until you do it yourself, and then
right.
You create monster queries which don't work.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, that could have been just 3 lines.
Yeah. Good.
All
then see you next week.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
See you then.
Michael.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.